In this video, we're going to show you how to replace a light switch, walking you through step by step everything from connecting the wires to installing the faceplate at the very end to get the perfect appearance from your light switch replacement to take an old, broken, dusty, dirty, grimy light switch like this and freshen it up with a nice new light switch like this. So here's the light switch in question in an upstairs bathroom that controls this set of vanity lights right here. Yes, mismatched colored lights. Sorry about that. First step, most important step when you're working on switches, go down to your electrical panel, turn off the circuit, and make sure it's off. These are the tools that you're going to need. Of course, you're going to need a switch, and don't forget the wall plate, set of rubber gloves, a thin flat blade screwdriver, a screwdriver with a Phillips head, set of wire strippers, and one thing that makes a difference, this electrical tape, high quality Scotch Super 88 electrical tape. It's really going to make your life a lot easier. And as we mentioned, a set of wire nuts just to have on hand just in case you need them. So, like we said, double check. Don't simply switch the light off and think that's good enough. Double check to make sure and turn your circuit off. Okay, first step, get the old faceplate off of the switch. This thing's done its job. Now it's time to send it for retirement. Might donate it to the local Habitat Restore. Yep, and kind of rusty screws from all that time in the bathroom, people with wet hands, the moisture in the bathroom. So carefully remove the final faceplate screw. Probably want to do that by hand, just like this, as you're holding the plate, and then carefully take that plate away. And we got a little bit of dust in there, and it's just a standard switch. Nothing too crazy. Thankfully, wired correctly. Not all the switches that we've replaced in our house were. Now here's what a typical single pole switch looks like. You're actually switching on the positive line. The black line is what connects to the switch. The neutral should be wired in the back of the box and the ground connected to the switch itself. Of course, check your local wiring codes. When in doubt, be sure and be safe. We found some that weren't properly grounded in our house. Sometimes you go in to do it for cosmetic reasons and find out you're fixing a problem. So don't be shy about changing an old switch if you get a feeling about it. So here we're now unscrewing the switch itself. Again, as you get down to the end, you might just want to unscrew it by hand, wearing rubber gloves just as a precaution. And as you can see in this case, we actually have two lines going into the load because this circuit continues. Otherwise, it's a typical switch with the neutrals wired in the back. But that's why it's always good to double check when you have extra wires in the box to make sure there's not a cross circuit or something like that. And you're going to want to match this same wiring with the new switch with the two loads at the bottom. And we're definitely going to want to double check with the meter to make sure we're safe, as well as making sure the neutrals and the grounds are tied together correctly in the back of the box there. Don't take for granted that these wires aren't live. Double check with the tester to be sure. You're going to want to go in and use a multimeter or get one of these little electrical testers to go ahead and test the wires on the switch. You could have a feed coming in from another circuit. We've seen it before, and you don't want to be dealing with a live wire. So again, safety first, double check all those wires are not active, that you got the right circuit, everything's shut off, and then you can vacuum out the box. You know, the drywall, probably the drywall dust and all that, not that big of a deal in there. but we like to keep things tidy. And first step here, we have these, depending on how the wires go in, we'll show you two different ways. Sometimes they're just screwed in like that. So you're just going to unscrew that. Now, after you unscrew the terminal, you're just going to want to unwind the wire carefully around it. Just like that. So that's disconnected. So that's the first way to disconnect if it's the screw terminal. The other way is if it's a push lock, you need a thin flat blade screwdriver just like this. And you're going to see that little hole right there? There it is. That hole right there is where you're going to press in that thin flat blade screwdriver, and that's going to allow you to take that push lock wire out. Just like that. Okay? As we go along, we like to bend the wires away from each other. Again, just another precaution. Here we're taking out another push lock here. All right? And that also helps us remember the location where they were on the switch itself when we go back together when we're replacing it. And there's the ground. Just going to unscrew that screw there. And carefully unwrap or unwind the ground wire there. And that's it. Congratulations, you've now disconnected the switch. Now, before we install the switch, we're going to give you a close-up view here in the Father and Son Fix basement studio. There's the back of the switch. This is where you're going to connect the hot line going in there, usually a push connection, or on the side if you need to, in a clockwise motion. You're going to wrap that wire around that terminal. That's where the line is usually going to come out on the top in that push lock connection, or you've also got the screw-on terminal again on the side there. Now, if you look closely on these side terminals, there's actually places where detents where the wires are supposed to rest. And that's also important to bring the wire in that way. That's also going to keep it secure on those screw terminals there. And that is the push to release. If you have a push lock in place already, that's where you're going to put the flat blade screwdriver. Of course, the ground screw on top. And that's what grounds the entire body of the switch so that the switch is nice and safe when you go to use it. And you're not going to pass any current through your body. It's going to go through the path of least resistance through that ground screw there. Those are the screws that are going to screw into the box. And you'll see that top screw has a little bit of movement in it. The bottom screw has a little bit of movement as well. That's what's going to allow you to adjust the switch itself so that even if your box is out of level, you can have your switch nice and level. All right, let's get back to the show and show you what this looks like. We recommend getting a 10-pack. If you're doing a lot of switches in your house, it's fairly inexpensive. You'll save on the 10-pack versus getting the onesies or twosies, and it's just good to have around. With the switch, when you get a new switch, it does come with a set of instructions. And just take a look here, and pretty standard paddle switch here. Pay attention to the line and the load, and matching how you had the switch in there before, where the wires were connected. Here are the official instructions. They also talk about how to do a two-way, although the switches that we have here are single pole. But if you want to pause and take a look at the instructions, there they are for you as well. Just an extra bonus there for you. Now back to the show. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back in with these push locks. Some people like the screws, they prefer it, but we like the push locks, especially when you have multiple wires going. Then you can be sure that everything is nice and secure. All right, and coming back with this guy. Okay, now we thought it would be a good time to show you how to strip wire in case you need to use wire strippers for your project. You've got the traditional style gauge wire strippers, and you also have these self-adjusting style wire strippers that recently have become more available, and we really like them. They're pretty nifty. There's a few things to note for each style. With the traditional sort of side cutting gauge style, you do get a notch at the top that's useful for bending wires. And the gauges are clearly marked out, which eliminates any guesswork when you're stripping wire to make sure you get it clean without damaging the wire underneath. On the self-adjusting side, you're going to use the knob in the back to adjust depending upon the thickness of the wire. And you also have this adjustment for the length of the wire, the stripped amount that you want. So let's show you how these work in practice. First with a traditional one, and we're going to choose 14 gauge here for this 14 gauge wire. And just like that. If you have a newer pair, probably come off a little bit easier. These are pretty well worn. Nice clean strip there. And now we're going to look at how to do it with the self-adjusting style. And here we're just adjusting the length of the stripped wire amount. And the last project was a little bit smaller gauge, so we're dialing up the tension a little bit. And just like this, boom, you strip it. It's really nifty. We really enjoy using them. So nice clean strip of the wire there as well. And so those are the pluses and minuses of each. Let us know down in the comments below. Which do you prefer? You like the gauge style, or do you like the self-adjusting? All right, let's get back to the install. One thing to bear in mind here is you're going to want that wire, that hook, traveling in a clockwise motion around the screw and exiting at the top. Instead of pushing the wire out, it's going to bite down on it. So it's going to hook around in the direction that you're screwing. So if that can make sense, and you can see here right in the image how that is happening. So up and around to the right. It starts at the bottom, goes around, up at the top, out to the right in the direction that you're screwing it in, and that'll keep it biting down. Another push lock going in here in the top. And then we're going to add our ground wire here finally. Don't forget the ground wire, and also make sure that the ground wire has a good connection in the back there, in the back of the box with the bundle of wires. Sometimes like this, we're just going to cut off to get a clean ground. If we have enough wire here, if the ground is really tarnished, if you got enough room and you can get down to a clean area, you're going to get better contact. The whole idea is resistance with the ground, and you don't want your body to be the path of least resistance. We want the ground to be the path of least resistance. So we want to reduce any resistance, have a nice clean connection there between the ground screw there, which is really grounding the body of the switch back to the panel. Little pinch with the end of the wire strippers there. We haven't had to use the wire strippers in this switch install. However, earlier in the video, we showed you a little tutorial on how to use them. Most importantly, remember to choose the right gauge for your gauge of wire or the right tension on the adjustment. Okay, nice and tight. Same thing there, going in that direction. Now we're going to go back in with the box here. And one thing we recommend is kind of push the wires back in, push the switch back in at different angles there. Just get the wires bent back so that you're not fighting that tension of the wire. One thing we missed, in case you caught it earlier, we forgot to screw in this terminal here. And always do that. Even if you're using the push lock, make sure there's no terminals sticking out. One thing we get a little obsessive about is the alignment of the switch, and also the degree that it is at a straight parallel or flush to the wall in the right way, so that it's not tilting back and forth. And so as you're screwing it in, you want to make sure that you're doing it evenly at the top and the bottom. And you can also use a level here to make sure that you're nice and lined up. What you have is an adjustment at the top where you get to tilt it a little bit left and right. So you kind of want to lock that in. Once you know you're in the right level position, then you can screw it down tight. One of the things is the way that the switch is angled, and pay attention to that you're not forcing against the wires on one side or the other, that it's going back nice and flat. Otherwise, the switch really sticks out, especially with these Decora switches. you'll see that the switch is at an angle. So just take your time as you're putting it in, even pressure on the top, even pressure on the bottom to get a nice even and flat finish before the faceplate goes on. Of course, you can go that extra level and use a level to make sure that the switch itself is nice and level, even if the box isn't. As we mentioned, as we showed in the close-up in the studio, you have these adjustment screws that you can use, a little more wiggle room on the top. So lock that in and you'll be good. All right, double check. And now, see the fitment of our faceplate here. We like to use that same flathead screwdriver, small flathead screwdriver, carefully so that we don't strip any of the paint off of these really dinky little screws on the faceplate. Getting those aligned, go one at a time, back and forth a little bit. Don't screw one all the way in as tight as you can. Back and forth a little bit so that is nice and even as well. And you also won't get any sort of dimples or bends. All right, back to the circuit breaker. Let's test this out, make sure everything works. Close that up and let there be light. Yeah, what a color change on the video there. You could see it too. And so confirmed working. Now we got a few more tips before you go. In case you're installing a 2-gang light setup, we recommend wrapping around where those screws are for the switch with some electrical tape, and make sure you go underneath the screw that screws the switch into the box. And you're just going to wrap around those terminals like we said. What that does is that prevents any accidental contact between those terminals and a neutral or a ground that could result in a short inside of the box. In the unlikely event that that happens when you're pushing the switch back in, that they get oriented that way, and that's why we recommend kind of pushing them back in so you know they're situated before you screw it in. But this is an extra preventative measure, and now they're all in there nice and tidy in this 2-gang outlet. One more tip, to get the alignment right with the 2-gang faceplate, hold it above it and below the switch as you're doing the install, and that'll help you make sure that they're screwed in at the right distance from each other. Well, we certainly hope these tips help you take your light switch from something like this to something like this. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.